What's going on, guys? Welcome back to more Virginia Film Festival coverage. I am reviewing now for you guys Monster, which is a new film from the director Hirokazu Kurita. Hope I pronounced that right. This dude is phenomenal. He did Shoplifters, which I also saw at the Virginia Film Festival. A masterpiece of a movie, if y'all haven't seen that. And then he did another film called Broker, which I had a screener for last year. And I may even like Broker a little bit more. Like, that film was incredible, emotional. And then he's done actually a lot of films. He's done like 28 films or something like that over his career. I looked up recently. It's kind of insane. But now he's come back with Monster, which I got a chance to see at the Virginia Film Festival. This is Sunday's openings film. And wow, what a film this was. So what it's about is pretty much, it is one story but told from three different perspectives. So there's this kid in school that happens to be getting bullied a lot and abused, and all this stuff is happening to him. And it starts off from the mother's perspective of her going to school, wanting answers, all that stuff. And then it starts off with, and then you go to the person who's accused of doing all this, which is one of the teachers. The second part is his perspective. And the third part is the kid's perspective. Because there's another kid in this film that he befriends, and they go on little journeys together. And it's just everything that's happened between these two. And it's fascinating the way all the perspectives come together and just make up this absolute, like, almost operatic kind of, it's hard to describe, but it is just such a beautiful and kind of melancholic story that has just stuck with me since. And it's tackles themes of like bullying, themes of lying, themes of just friendship and family. And one thing I always have found fascinating in Kurita's films is, and each one I've seen three now, including this, he always manages to do this thing where he'll take complex characters, or he'll in like complex situations. So he'll take a character who's done something morally unjust or not good, and you're watching it saying like, yeah, this person really isn't doing this thing that's good, but I'm rooting for them. That's what happened with Broker. That's what happened with Shoplifters, because they were able to relate to them. You were able to connect to them, but you realize what they were doing was not that great. And here he switches up the formula a lot, but he is still essentially telling that kind of story at a very like, okay, well, maybe let's look at this on a more complex level. You know, maybe that teacher isn't as bad as we think he is. Maybe it's a lot more complex than that. Maybe this kid, what he's going through is more complex than what we are thinking of. And it's just very, very fascinating to me. And he always makes these characters, they're some of the best characters I've ever seen portrayed on screen. And again, it's no exception here, because all these characters are fantastic. And by interweaving all the structures here and everything, or all the perspectives, the structure of the movie is fantastic, because the structure, just the way it's edited, and Kurita also does the editing for this movie. So he did writing, directing, and editing. And the way he does the editing, it's some of my favorite editing I've seen this year, because it's so seamless, how it's like non-linear in a way. So it'll jump from like, you'll go from a mother's perspective to the child's perspective to maybe the adult's perspective here and there, and it just jumps it back and forth. And then there's other plot lines interwoven in between there, like with the principal and what happened with like her, I think it was her granddaughter or daughter, I forget now, but it was something like that, and about how all this stuff, and you see her kind of story told too, from a little kid's perspective, from an adult's perspective, stuff like that. It's very fascinating to me. And this is something I was able to relate to and connect to as someone who's bullied a lot, as someone who has gone through these kind of emotions, these feelings. I was able to connect with this and relate to this on such an emotional level that I was not expecting to this hard, I guess, because I can't really relate to the events of Shoplifters. I can't really relate to the events of Broker, but I knew I loved those characters, and I knew I was able to connect to those characters. Here, I'm actually able to relate to the story as well as connect to them. And this is honestly, I feel, Corrido's masterpiece that I've seen so far, because this film is one of the ones that came out of the festival thinking about the most. I've nonstop just been thinking about this film, and it comes out this month, I believe, in select theaters, so you guys can see it like in November. It is fascinating. The cinematography, the way they'll do the landscapes, the natural lighting, everything. It's just such luscious and beautiful, guys. The performances here. So Sakura Endo plays the mom. She was incredible in this movie. Shorter part. She's more first act. You watch her in the first act and you're like, oh yeah, that's a great performance. And then the second act is when Ita Nagamaya, hope I pronounced your name right, is whenever he pops in as the teacher. And that is up there with like one of the best supporting performances I've seen this entire year. Like, he blew me away in this movie. He was so freaking good. I can't even with his performance. It's phenomenal. And then of course Minato was Soya Kuroka, who's the main kid. And then Yori was also a kid played by Hinata Hiragi. And both the child performances here are just so powerful and just display the innocence of children on screen. It's just it has that slice of life kind of style, even though it's not a slice of life movie necessarily, because its structure keeps it from being that. It has that slice of life feel when you get these kids who are both victims of abuse and both victims of bullying coming together and just having these adventures together. And it's just so beautiful to see. And how their friendship grows and bonds and everything. And it's just, yeah, guys. And the script, the way it's written, just how every single person gets to shine. And there have been stories like this where I feel, it can get repetitive or something like that. Like, for example, The Last Duel from Ridley Scott. That's a movie that's one story, but told from three different perspectives. That is a film that is it's good, but it's lacking something there, And I feel like it's because of the repetition of it and just how the nature of the story went. This one, it doesn't fall into that trap. It is full on just you are invested literally from the very first frame of this movie. I was locked in. I was laughing. I was crying. I was feeling every emotion I could. The score here is beautiful. Luckily, the score was posted online, so I could actually listen to the score when I was like doing work and stuff like that, because the score is beautiful, haunting, just fantastic all around. So yeah, it is. This is a fucking brilliant movie, guys. The guy I saw with Noah, this was apparently his favorite movie at the festival. Like, he loved this movie, and so did I. We both adore this film. Honestly, I don't really have any flaws with this film. The only thing I'd say is maybe there's I'm starting to despise those abrupt endings, because this is a very abrupt ending. You get to decide what happens next kind of ending. But the way they set it up makes it feel like, well, I just feel like I was kicked in, I was kicked in the balls. This is like gut wrenching. Once you kind of can figure out what led up to the abrupt ending, you're like, without giving any spoilers away, I'm just like, yeah, this is a gut wrenching experience. Beautiful, but gut wrenching, to say the least. Yeah, guys, that is Monster. If y'all get a chance to run out and see this one in theaters, I highly encourage it. But if y'all don't get a chance to see it in theaters, it will be on the streaming service Mubi. I don't know when yet, but Mubi is killing it, guys. Subscribe to Mubi. I've seen 3 movies of theirs now, with Fallen Leaves, Monster, and Perfect Days. So be sure, guys, of just this year, and that's just this year alone. And 2 out of 3 of those are like movies that are in my top 10 of the year. So go definitely see this one on either Mubi whenever it becomes available on the streaming service, or on the theater near you on the largest screen possible, guys, because this is one that needs to be experienced. I'm in awe. I wish there could be a world where the Academy, it's such a stupid rule that the Academy made, that they have to submit a film to be eligible to be even nominated for the Academy Award. Because if we were living in a perfect world, this and Perfect Days would both be eligible, and they could both get in for Best International Feature, because both of them absolutely deserve it. Kurita deserves directing for the way he directed this, editing, writing. Oh, it's just, God, this film is incredible, guys. Go see it ASAP, guys. That'll be it for this review. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Stay tuned for all the other reviews I have coming up. And until next time, stay classy, my friends, and keep on watching those movies.